Hi friends, it's Jennifer Gillette. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about overspending. This is a video that I have wanted to make for a long time, but to be honest with you guys, I was a little scared because who wants to talk about the fact that they have a problem with spending too much money, with, trying to out earn your spending. Is anybody else with me? But as hard as this video is going to be to make, I know it's important. This is actually part 3 of a 5-part series that I'm doing on my channel on the topic of personal finance. The first video we did was on the simple budget, and that's the 50-30-20 split of how to manage your finances. So if you haven't watched that video yet, feel free to check that out on my channel because that video really lays the foundation of everything we're going to be talking about today. Part 2 I did on sinking funds, and this is probably the single most important new habit that my husband and I have developed, which is basically just a system for planning ahead for upcoming expenses, things that you know are going to be happening, and how to have money in the bank for those things, or with the cash envelope system, which I go into in detail with the sinking funds video, which is part 2. Today is part 3, and this is overspending. So what I'm going to do today is just share with you a little bit about my journey. Not going to really be talking about my husband because we're a team and we kind of got into this mess together, but I'm going to be talking about more about my role in the mess that we got ourselves into financially and how we're crawling out. And I'm kind of going to get into not really the numbers so much in this video, but more the emotion, because money, let's face it, we like to say it's a really logical thing, but it's really not. Money is a very emotional topic. So here we go. I made a little list because I was in therapy talking to my therapist about, I know that my overeating and my overspending are linked together, but I don't know why. I can't figure out what it is, and I feel like if I could just figure this piece out and get control of my eating and get control of my spending, I just feel like, I could solve 90% of the problems in my life. So I made a list, and this is where I'm at. I didn't come up for this one, but I made a little list of why I think I overspend. So I'm going to go through these one by one. The first one is that I felt entitled. I felt like I work hard. I deserve this thing. That's actually number 2. I thought that I deserved it. So when I would be in the store and I would be thinking about, should I get this item? Should I not get this item? I'd think, I work hard. Like, I make good money. Like, I deserve this thing. The next thing was, it feels good. And that one kind of got more into, I think, the food, the overeating, and the overspending. We'll get into overspending in a minute, but I feel like, it feels good when you're just craving something, salty or sweet, just to go indulge. And I felt like these two things really went hand in hand, emotionally, mentally, and also practically. Like shopping malls typically have food courts, or some of my favorite shopping places have a cheesecake factory, and not even the cheesecake so much, but just like, getting some egg rolls and just the whole experience of eating and spending. So yeah, it feels good. The next one, to feel numb. And this one really got me when I wrote this down. I knew this was true for a long time, but I think the reason this one really got me is because I looked up what it means to feel numb. And I've known this about myself for a while with the overeating, overspending. Kind of goes along with that next one, that I mentally, emotionally checked out. And here's what it means. It means to be dazed, indifferent, anesthetized, detached, frozen, immobilized, stupefied. When I read that word, I just had to sit there and think, is this what I want with my life? Hell to the no. Do I want to be dazed, indifferent, anesthetized, detached, frozen, immobilized? Why do we do things to numb ourselves? Well, I mean, it's because we don't want to feel the feels, right? We don't want to. And for me, what I've noticed, it's never typically, I would say it's usually not negative emotions that I'm trying to numb, it's good emotions. More thoughts on what it means to feel numb: apathetic, comatose, dead, incurious. That one really got me. Lethargic, listless, and cannot read my last word. I don't know what that says. But writing these words down and coming face to face of what it means to feel numb was very eye-opening, because in those moments where I'm just kind of like zombie brain, just like shop, look at things, TJ Maxx, Ross, I think I'm enjoying it. But when I read what it means, the logical part of my brain is like, I don't want any of those things. And then when I got into the rest of my list about being mentally, emotionally checked out, mindless, not intentional, well, that really grabbed me right in the heart, because it's 2019 and my word for the year is intentional. I have this little book. It's in the dining room. It says Choose Your Words. It's from Erin Condren. I want to be intentional this year with my words, with my faith, with my finances, with my fitness, and with my food choices. I'm really focusing this year on being an intentional person with my friendships, making that effort to connect with people that I care about and let them know I love them, making an intentional decision to get together with friends and other couples. So that idea of not wanting all those feelings associated with numb, I decided to look up the opposite of mindless, because I'm going to make another video about this, about I learned this on EWTN Catholic Radio. Basically, if you have a sin in your life, to look up what the opposite of that sin is. So for example, if you struggle with greed, and this is something that I was working through when I first learned this, it said the opposite of greed is generosity. So you just work on being a more generous person, and that kind of helps to counteract so it's like the opposites, right? So what I did was I looked up the opposite of mindless. Well, the opposite of mindless, because back to the list, why was I doing these things? Why was I overspending? Because I was mentally, emotionally checked out, mindless, not intentional. So to be the opposite of mindless is to be reasonable, to be thoughtful, sensible, mindful, and intelligent. I liked that. And when I read that, I thought, that's it. That's the secret to overcome this overeating, overspending. So step one is get to the why. Why do I do what I do? So get real with yourself. Write down your why. Why do you do the things you don't want to do? And then the opposite for me is that I need to be thoughtful. I need to be sensible. I need to make reasonable decisions with our finances, which the sinking funds video really goes into that. Be mindful and be intelligent. Then I also looked up the opposite of intentional, because back to the list, the last thing is that I was not being intentional. The opposite of intentional is unplanned, accidental, or involuntary. So we don't want to have any accidents in our life, and involuntary, that almost for me, for what the topic of what we're talking about, it kind of implies like I'm not even doing it. It's like something else is taking me over and like making these decisions. And I don't want that. I want to be in control of myself. I want to exercise self-control. So I hope this helps you. One of the things on here too that I wanted to go over is number 3, it feels good. So I didn't want the opposite of good, because the opposite of good, when you research that, the opposite of good is bad or evil. So we don't want that. So I wrote define good, like for me. What do I mean when I say it feels good to eat good things? Well, for me it means comforting, rush. It's like, that rush of like, I don't know if it's sugar rush or like that when you eat carbs or cheese really does it for me. So that rush, who doesn't want that adrenaline, that, that oomph, that get up and go. When it comes to shopping and overspending, it made me feel important. when I knew that I had the funds, the ability to purchase, even if it was on credit, to purchase like a new handbag or like prestige makeup or like fashion, like nice clothes. I had the ability, even if, like I said, even if it was on credit, so even though I couldn't afford it, the access to credit to be able to purchase, you know, to go spend $300 or $400 on new clothes, it made me feel satisfied. And I thought, that is so sad. But that was what I was looking for. I was looking for comfort. I was looking for that rush. I was looking to feel important. And I was wanting, ultimately, peace. I was wanting to feel satisfied. So I looked up the opposite of entitled, banned or ineligible. And I thought, well, that's why I'm feeding into all of these overspending, overeating, is because who wants food to be banned? And did you guys hear that? Milo's gonna start howling. Milo, do you hear the truck? Can he go, ow? Sometimes he'll howl with me. It's so cute. So the opposite of that is deserving, or the opposite of deserving, so I thought I deserved it, is undeserving or unworthy. And who wants to feel unworthy or undeserving? So for me, the feeling good and that I deserve it and the entitlement, what I did, instead of finding the opposite of those like we did for numb and mindless, is I put a list of all the words and I looked up, what does it mean to be good? It means to be worthy, deserving, approved, pleasing, and welcome. So I wrote, I am worthy, I am desired, I am approved, I am pleasing, and I am welcome. So when we accept the truth of these things, that we're good, right? That we have all these things, then we don't feel the need to fill that void with choices, habits, lifestyles, overeating, overspending, that are going to make us have that feeling when we already know that we are those things. I hope that makes sense to you guys. The last thing I want to go over here is the entitlement. Thought I deserved it. Oh wait, that's not it. That was my... Oh, that's it. Sorry, I have like 10 post-it notes trying to remember all my notes so I can get give you guys some good insight into overspending. So I hope that helps you. I'm thinking a few of you probably clicked on this video because you're trying to figure out why you overspend or why you overeat, what the connection is. So hopefully that resonated with you. I know for me, hearing other people's journeys and what they go through really does help me kind of understand my journey and what I'm going through. So thanks again for watching. And again, this is part 3 of a 5-part series on financial planning. My name is Jennifer Gillette. Thanks again for watching the video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.